Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. If you're new, please hit subscribe, like, and today we're going to be benchmarking and thermal testing my brand new 5800X 3D. Right now I'm running a Hyper 212 Evo Black edition, and this cooler isn't really rated for this processor, since this is an 8-core processor, and it definitely runs hotter than most other processors, including Intel 1300 series. So I have managed to make this cooler work, but it took some lengths, and I will show you today the thermals, pretty much the maximum thermals you can get out of this cooler. So as you can see, I have PBO2 tuner open here, and my 5800X 3D was somewhat lucky with I was somewhat lucky with my 5800X 3D because I was able to undervolt it at a -30 curve on all cores. As you can see, hit apply, nothing to change, so it is active. And if we go to limits, you can see that I have 120, 75, 110 limits on here, and this is just purely for gaming. If you are not gaming and just doing workload stuff, you probably want to change this, but for gaming, honestly, this is the upper limit. You don't really need anything else, and this decreases temperature by quite a bit. I also did turn off CPPC in BIOS, and that is known to increase temperatures on the 5800X 3D specifically, as well as decrease FPS in certain games. So enough talking, and let's get into the benchmarks. I'll just go over quickly what I have open here so you can monitor along with me. Here I have open MSI Afterburner hardware monitor. I prefer this for temperature and CPU usage monitoring, as it gives me very accurate graphs and temperature readings. I also have HW info open here, and what we're going to primarily look at in order to test the thermals and stability of this at this curve is we're going to look at the core clocks. So if we take a look at these core clocks here, we go from 0 to 7, which is the 8-core clocks. Right now it's running at 3600 megahertz, sometimes it boosts up a little. And then the main thing you want to look at when you're benchmarking yourself as well is you want to look at these core effective clocks. As long as these match up with your upper clocks when running at a full load, then that is stable. If it decreases too much, for example, one of your cores is running, let's say 4400, and one of your other cores is running 2300, that is unstable, and you do not want that. We also have thermal throttling here, so if we notice any thermal throttling, it'll tell us. Now enough talking, let's get it started. Have to wait 10 seconds here. And I'm using OCCT because it has a pretty easy benchmark, and it's one of the better ones for this type of test. So as you can see, our CPU shoots up to 100% usage, and our temperatures do shoot up here. So as you can see in the core clocks here on the right, the core clocks boost up to 4400, and core effective are within 25 megahertz range, which is what you want. Anything lower than 25 megahertz is somewhat unstable, and you might want to tweak a little bit with that. So as you can see, we're going pretty stable. It is decreasing a little bit. This is mostly because of the limits I have set, but not too big of a deal. Now, let's just watch this and see how it goes. As we can see here, as soon as it's already 4 minutes in, and we can see that the CPU does start to go up here. So it's reaching 89, which it's designed to reach up to this high. It's designed to go up to 90. Anything past 90, you don't really want. You can see how our core clocks have started boosting down in order to keep temperatures below that threshold. So before they were 4400, now they're about 4300. And as you can see, it's going up even more. 89 now. And you can see that the CPU, AMD's technology is very nice, and it is keeping it under that 90 threshold as much as it can. It's trying its best here. It's a safety, pretty much a safety feature that they have. And yeah, as you can see, maximum temperature we got was 89 during that 5-minute test. Now I have gotten it up to 90 and even up past 91, but you just have to tweak a little bit with your undervolt settings. And realistically, with this cooler, you know what? Let's change it up a little bit. My verdict is, if you have a Hyper 212 or any Hyper 212, Hyper 212 Evo, whatever it is, the real question is, can you run a 5800X 3D with a Hyper 212? And the answer is yes, yes you can. But the problem is, you know, you're gonna have to undervolt if you want to run well and not too hot. That's the biggest issue here. As you can see, even when undervolting, right, we go from, so we started from 80 about, we hold stable at 81 for around 3 minutes, and then right at the 4.5-ish minute mark, our CPU starts our CPU starts increasing in temperature a lot more. And you know, this is typical with the CPU. There's a good explanation for it. I saw somewhere. I don't remember exactly what it was, but pretty much the more you run the CPU at 100%, the higher it's gonna increase in temperature over time. And this goes for, I mean, really any CPU, to be honest, but this CPU in particular runs very hot due to the 3D V-cache technology, and you really want to have a good cooler for this. So a Hyper 212 is definitely gonna, you know, get you through gaming and whatnot, but if you're gonna do workload stuff where you're gonna be using your CPU at 100% usage a lot, then you definitely do want to upgrade. Even on Hyper 212, I would really recommend upgrading, even with all these undervolts. And as you can see, you know, I have the maximum really set. You know, I have wattage limits, I have -30 undervolt, and I even did a bunch of BIOS tweaking to get this as much as possible, you know, under that 90-degree threshold. And you can definitely, you know, game with it. Like I said, the max I've seen while gaming in any game was like 89, but 89C, but that was using 100% usage. In usual games, it's like 84C max around. For some people, that's a bit toasty. For some people, it's not. I would personally say anything above 80C while gaming is a bit concerning, at least on CPUs. And I would definitely recommend getting another cooler, something like a 120 SE from Thermalright. Definitely a great cooler for the price, like $45, and that will definitely keep this cool. Otherwise, yeah, you can use a Hyper 212, and that's about it. Thank you for watching.